Hey guys, welcome to my Etsy channel. This is Nancy, and my primary objective in my channel is to help you build a thriving Etsy business. And on this video, I'm going to talk about why are your Etsy sales down. This video was inspired by a conversation that was held in my Facebook seller support group. And a lot of people were sharing how their sales decreased from the prior year of 2017. And, they were comparing their low sales from the prior year. And I totally understand that it can be very frustrating to have a very successful year. And then the new year comes and you have decreased your sales by 30 or even 50%. So I do understand that. And it's my job as an Etsy seller and running successful Etsy stores to help you kind of have a different mindset when it comes to why this is happening, right? Um, and I understand that, a lot of people feel like, I'm doing everything I can. I'm updating my listings. The first year, I really didn't do that much and I made a lot of sales. And there's different reasons why. And I kind of wanted to cover a couple of reasons why to kind of help you shift your mindset and help you increase, right, your overall performance of your listings. And hopefully, by making these drastic changes, you will increase your sales for the next months. So let's go ahead and get started. So one of the major things that I always hear, whether it's in my Facebook group or it's maybe in a forum or a community board, is that a lot of people say that the reason why they're not making sales is because of the Etsy algorithm. And a lot of people, right, like I just said, blame the changes or the constant changes of the algorithm as the reason why they're not making the sales they used to or why they're not cultivating any new sales. However, to kind of change your mindset, what you have to keep in mind is that Etsy has always updated their SEO algorithm. Not only Etsy does this, Google does this all the time, and this is all the time. It's not, once every 5 years. This is something that they have to do. And it's not new. This is not new. The years that you were making money and that year that you were doing really well, guess what? There was a lot of SEO changes also, or algorithm changes on Etsy. However, because your shop was doing well, right? You didn't mind it at that given moment. You didn't really notice that there were changes made. So keep in mind that the reason why Etsy does the algorithm changes is to better the marketplace, is in order to better your listings as well. So there are different factors why Etsy does an update on their algorithm. And a lot of these factors are search placement. They want to make sure that there's tag and title relevancy. They want to make sure there's an attribute relevancy. They want to make sure that you are listing quality items. And they also want to see how many new favorites you got from your shop, how many people liked your shop, recently. Because all these things, like there's so many factors, but all these things work together in order for your listings to appear in the search results. So keep that in mind. I always talk about this when I do critiques, and I think that a lot of people might think, oh, she's just making that up, or I don't see why that makes a big difference, but it does. Like you having people like your store or people like your listings, also making sure that, your customer experience, right? Buyers, they want to make sure that your buyers have a great experience when they purchase from you on Etsy. And because of this, they consider a shop's record of customer service, whether it's in good standing accordingly to Etsy policy. And if you don't have a record of good customer service, let's say if like, you don't have great reviews, um, or if you don't have, for instance, your About Me section completed and you don't have your shop policies completed, all of this affects your placement in the search results. So you want to make sure that you have your shop policies in place. You want to make sure that you have great reviews. You want to make sure that everything and anything in your shop is filled out completely. And you also want to keep in mind that if you have any strikes against your store, for instance, if you have intellectual property infringement issues, that also has a negative effect in your store. It's crazy how a lot of people really don't understand this, but it's very important that you know this, that the XC algorithm changes does so many things, and a lot of those things is that they evaluate your shop at that given moment, and based on where you at, based on your reviews, on everything I just mentioned, whether you have listing descriptions, whether you have credibility with customers, whether you have any strikes against your shop, whether you owe money, all these things are they take that in factor and they put you in placement in the search results. That could make you go from page 1 to make you go to page 10. So keep that in mind, that there's different reasons why. So let's say that you do have great customer service and you have, no negative strikes against your shop, and so your store will rank higher, and the person that doesn't have great reviews, never really completed their store, it looks incomplete, they don't have anything, people message that store and they don't even get a response. You wouldn't want that store to outsmart your store, right? You wouldn't want that store or let's say that's your competitor, to appear on the first page of Etsy when you have done all this work to maintain your reputation, to maintain your customer service, to go above and beyond. And for you to have another store that doesn't have all these requirements met to pass you, you would be upset. So therefore, these are factors that they do. And it kind of, for people that are following the policy and being ethical, is going to work for them. It's going to be for their favor. People that are not, it's not going to work for them, right? And it's not so much that you're not being ethical, but just the sense that if you don't have your shop policies completed or your About Me section and you have not taken Etsy serious in the sense of that you're completing everything fully, therefore that will affect you. So I highly recommend making sure that you have everything together the way it should be, and this will help you anytime that the algorithm changes. And the algorithm is basically different factors. I will leave a link below this video. It's a article that Etsy wrote, and it talks about the search algorithms and what it affects and all the different factors that I just talked about and even more. So I will leave that link below. That way you have a valuable source, which is Etsy, right, that wrote that, and not just me saying it to you. Now, another reason why you might not be getting sales is that recency. So recency is basically, you have to think about it this way. In the beginning, when you are creating a new store and you open your shop, you're constantly updating stuff. You're constantly listing new items, right? You're constantly tweaking this, tweaking that. Let me put a banner. Let me update the shop policy. Let me update my About Me section. Let me update some pictures of me working in my office. Let me change this. Let me change that. Because you're constantly doing all that and you're adding additional listings or new listings all the time, this is really good for your store, because Etsy search results is like a search engine, and search engines love when people are constantly either listing all the time or relisting, right? Like renewing the items. So therefore, to keep, search results fresh for like frequent shoppers, Etsy's algorithm reviews how recent, your items have been placed. So let's say that you have a rough month and you have not updated anything, you have not added new listings, you barely are active in your account, but you have not made any sales either. And now it's going on day 4 or like a week later. What happens now is that the search results or Etsy search results think, oh, the store is not really adding any value or adding new listings or renewing new listings. So what happens now is that your store is not, being, you could say, recency, right? It's not adding stuff all the time. And this does affects the placement of your items in the search results. And it sucks, right? Because when you think about it that way, and you're like, well, I don't have anything else to add, and that's unfair. It's just how it works, because it's just how the search engine works. Basically, it's almost like a blog. When you have a blog, you have to post on a constant basis. You can't just say, I posted everything I wanted and I'm done. If the moment you do that and you don't start posting on a regular basis, uh, Google will be like, oh wait, this website doesn't provide valuable or updated content, so let's push them down and let's put the one that actually does all the time. And it works the same way. It's a search engine, and this is just how it works. So making sure that you are constantly updating, adding new listings is really going to help you get on the Etsy search results. And it's really going to take your placement from, like, let's say you are in the search results of page 5, right, to page now 1 or 2. But you have to be constantly updating new listings or adding new products on a regular, consistent basis. I highly recommend doing that. And this is also going to help you increase your sales. And the reason why the first year you did really, really well compared to, like, let's say the second, or let's say the first and second year you did really well, is because in the beginning you're constantly in there adding, tweaking, doing all these things that get you noticed, and the search results love that. And that's the reason why. Another reason why you might not be making sales is because what you're selling or what you sell is out of season or not trending. This is so important that we understand, as having a business, whether it's online or having a business like outside of Etsy, is that you will have seasonal slumps. That's just how it works. You will have seasonal slumps. And if, for instance, if you sell wedding items like I do, I know that my peak season are between March and September. And I know that my off season is from October all the way to February, sometimes even mid March. So at those times, right, instead of me sitting and waiting for the season to pick up again and for me to get, for instance, more sales, etc., what I do in this season, this is when I concentrate on what I need to do, right? Instead of sitting around and waiting for my season to start again, I use this valuable time to start making new products. Maybe I'll start making a new product line for March, right? For my new year. I start also seeing what's trending for the new year, items that maybe I could create that could double my income, right? What's trending for weddings of 2019, right? Or what's trending at that given moment as well. I start thinking about, how can I add value right now to my shop? Are there any items that I could sell that are kind of seasonal versus some items in my shop are just strictly for wedding season, right? So I start thinking about that. And I do add items that are for like overall events, like birthday and different parties, events, and stuff like that. That's year round. That's not necessarily just on wedding, right? Wedding season. So you have to start using this time as valuable time. This is when you evaluate your listings. This is when you check your tags. This is when you go back and see if what you're selling, if it's still trending, if it's still popular, or is it off? Is it like, 2014 was like the coolest thing to buy, but in 2018 it's not cool anymore, right? We don't want to hear that. It's our product, but it's the truth, right? Things go up and down. Things come in trending and then they leave the trend, right? Things are maybe you have something that's not popular anymore that was your number one item that you sold, but now you don't sell that item anymore. So this is when you evaluate all this time. This is when you really, really, really like get to know your store. You look at your key performance indicators, you check your Google Analytics, you check your stats, you start understanding what's working, what's not working, and you start creating products around things that are working. Maybe you have some products that you are selling and they do really well for you. So maybe now is the time to create a robust line around those products. That way you could increase your sales, right? So this is when you do stuff like this. You definitely want to take advantage of this time, because this time could either break you or make you even more money. So what I mean by that is that if you sit around frustrated, angry, and don't do nothing about it, the following year you might actually make less sales because you didn't even take the time to look at your numbers and see if there's any changes that you need to do. However, if you look at your stats and you evaluate everything from a clear mind and you sit there and you say, I need to change this and maybe this is not working anymore. What can I do different? If you do that, you could potentially, the next time that your season is back on, right? You could potentially do double the sales. I have done that. So you could potentially increase your sales double because now you're really concentrating on what's working, what's not working, and you're looking at patterns and you're verifying the things that do work and the things that don't work. And I just repeated that, but it's the same thing. So make sure that you do that. Another reason why your sales are down is the verbatim, right? Verbatim of your items. Maybe a couple years ago, people searched for that particular item, right? So, and maybe now, 3 years later, right, people are searching for different stuff. And this goes back to what we just talked about, that you have to look at those items that you are selling a lot. So if you have something particular that you sell a lot all the time, but now you're not, no longer making sales, you need to go and see where that product actually is on the Etsy search results. So you could use either Etsy search result, or you could use any program like Etsy rank, or you could do Marmalade, and you could use their tools. I know Etsy rank has rank checker, and you could put your store name, you could put your main keyword, and it's going to tell you where that item falls. It's going to tell you whether your listing is on the first page of Etsy search result or whether it's on the 10th page. So if you used to be on the first page, and that's why you got sale after sale after sale, but now that same item is on the 10th page, then you need to evaluate, why did it move to the 10th page? What do I need to change? Is it the tags? Is it that the verbatim that I have? No one's looking for that verbatim, right? No one's looking for that particular wording or keyword or tag, whatever you want to call it. No one's looking for that. So now I have to go in there and find new tags in order to rank it again on the first page. So these are things that you have to look at. You have to be able to know what are your top contenders, and you have to be able to say, my top contender is, I don't know, this wedding dress, and it's on page 3. You're supposed to know this information. The more information you know about your Etsy stats and about your items and your listings, the more money you will make, the better off you will be, and the less mistakes you make, the less time you would spend on other things, and you will actually succeed faster and better because you are making the changes like you're supposed to be doing whenever you see fluctuations and etc. So I definitely recommend for you to start looking at your products or services and seeing where they land on the search results and why they are there. Another reason 4 why you're not making sales is competition. I mean, Etsy broke. I don't know if you guys know this. I know that I remember reading the newsletter that they sent. And also, if you were to go to businessinsider.com, even CNBC, and then even Tacistas, they have great information about all these different companies. They basically broke 1 billion in sales in Q4 of 2017. I mean, that's crazy when you think about it, right? And they're showing a growth overall, month after month, of year after year of 17.8%. And, Etsy is the largest marketplace for handmade items and vintage, etc. So you could just imagine how much more competition there is in the last year or in the last couple of years, especially if you started in 2014 or if you started in, let's say you're older, you've been in the marketplace for like since 2011, or maybe you've been in it for 2 years. Even then, it's been an incredible, incredible growth for Etsy. So it's not necessarily that Etsy is dying or that you can't make money with Etsy, it's no longer profitable. They're very profitable, right? They're growing, as you can see in this chart. I mean, look at they're growing so significant. It's crazy. The issue is that as more people join Etsy and as more users start making products on Etsy, that's more competition for you, right? That's more people competing with you. And this goes back to all the critiques and the same thing I talk about in every single critique, the same thing I talk about on my Instagram account, on Facebook, etc. This is where you have to pay attention to your shop. This is when you pay attention to your products. This is when you keep track of your stats to see patterns in your data. This is when you really, really have to ask yourself those hard questions. What makes my shop better than everyone else? What sets me apart from other people in my same niche? Would I buy from myself or would I buy from that shop over there? What can I do if you're not separating yourself from other people? What can I do today that would set me apart, increase my sales, and make me the best shop for that particular niche? And that's what you need to do. You really need to do that. Really need to evaluate your shop overall presence, everything from your banner, from your photo, from your listing products. Are you making high quality products? Are your customers happy with your products? Do you get a lot of complaints about your product? Do you have your listing descriptions filled out? Do you have the right SEO tags? Are you using SEO correctly? Are you using the correct attributes? Are you adding attributes so you could add additional keywords in your listing, right? In your on-page SEO factor? Are you writing enticing listing descriptions? Do you have a really good descriptive of meta description that when people see that on Google or any search results, they want to click and buy from you? Do you have beautiful photos? Do you have photos that are cropped in a complimentary way that Etsy sees them and they might want to feature your shop because your stuff is amazing? Do you have a logo? Have you taken the time to fill out your About Me section? Have you taken the time to fill out your shipping policies? Do you ship stuff on time? Do you make excuses for yourself? But I think the most important one, besides these are all important, how do you set yourself apart from everyone else? If you just look like every other shop out there, and there's nothing special about your shop and your products look like every other shop, then you can still make money. Doesn't mean you can't make money. But are you really going to make the money that you want? Right? Are you really going to scale your business to the next level? Another thing that I would highly recommend is to make sure that you define your target audience. This is something that I always talk about. And I always try to say that first before I recommend running a Facebook ad or running an Etsy ad or doing other stuff. Because at the end of the day, if you don't know who your target audience is, it doesn't matter how much money you spend. You're just wasting money. Because you're showing that ad to people that particularly might not, you might get lucky here and there and get a sale. But for the most part, you're probably showing the ad to people that are not interested in your products. So therefore, you're not targeting the right people that are willing to spend the money and buy from you. So the last reason why, right, you're not making sales on Etsy, and the reason why you feel that Etsy's going down or that it's a waste of time. It's because you're looking for others to validate what's going on. What do I mean by that? So when you were making sales on Etsy, that year that you were making sales, it was your first year. You couldn't believe it. You were doing really good. You didn't even know what you were doing, but you were making sales. You weren't going to Facebook groups or going to forums or going to the community board on Etsy saying, how come, are you guys struggling because I'm not? You weren't. And the reason why is because you were busy, right? Adding new listings. You were busy answering every customer within seconds. You were busy being excited about your store. You were adding new products. You were creating new products. You were dreaming very, very high. You were setting goals and, trying to achieve different things, right? Learning and crafting your skills, etc. However, now that you are struggling with sales or you've seen a decrease in sales, which I totally understand, you want to go find other people that are having the same issue so you could validate that it's not just you. But what you have to understand is that if you go back to the forums on Etsy, you'll find people the same year that you were making money that weren't making money. And you'll find the year before that other people, and the year before that other people. So it's not necessarily that it's because of your shop or, you have bad luck or your products or it's not that. A lot of it has to do with everything that we just talked about. A lot of it has to do with maybe the products that you were selling were popular at one given moment, but maybe now they're not popular anymore. It could be that you're using tags that are not relevant anymore, or you're using tags that don't target your audience, or tags that at one point you could get found organically, but because Etsy has grown so much and there's so much more competitors in your niche, those particular keywords that you used to rank for organically without even trying, you no longer rank organically anymore. And your particular listing or product is now, instead of being on the search results of page 1, is all the way on search results page 9. So no one is finding your products. So what you have to do is that instead of finding other people to validate what you're going through, which is normal. I think we all do that. But instead of doing that, you have to change your mindset and you have to say, okay, what am I not doing? What's going on? Because there's other people that are making sales, but I'm not. So why are they making and why am I not? And this is where you strategize. And this is when you use all the changes to your favor, right? So if Etsy makes a change and they say, this is how these particular things, if you don't have this, affects your shop, guess what? You're going to do those things. If they say you need a complete policy and you don't have it completed, make sure you do it. If they say you need to have, 300 words in your listing description, then you do that. That was just an example, but you do that. If they say you need to have your About Me section filled out, you do that. If they say you need to have beautiful images, either you do it, you hire someone, or you learn how to do it. But this is where you take everything and anything that they change or tweak, etc., and you use it towards your advantage. And that way, all the other people that are not using it or are not listening or are not keeping up, they're not staying updated with any changes that Etsy does, right? Therefore, if they're not keeping any updates or they're not keeping up with the trends, but you are, guess what? Etsy's going to favor your shop, and then your shop is going to go from the slumps of not making money to possibly increasing your sales again, or even tripling your sales. It just really depends on your work ethic. It really depends on what you sell as well, your price points, etc. But this is when you, as the Etsy seller, have to understand that it's your responsibility to stay current with any updates, use them to your advantage, And understand that when you have a e-commerce business or any type of online business, you are going to have the slumps of up and down due to season, due to changes on the algorithm, due to A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And what you have to do is that you have to learn to balance both. You have to be able to say, okay, I'm going to sign up for XC newsletter, and every time I get one, I'm going to read it. And if it applies towards my shop, I'm going to make those changes so therefore I don't get left behind. And a nice thing about doing that also is that the more you're consistent with making changes in your shop, and the more you're consistent in keeping your shop updated, the more you learn. And when you have an online business or anything you do in life, it's all about growing and evolving. And the minute you say, I'm done, this is too much, or they're constantly changing this, or I don't understand why. The moment you do that and you say these things and you give up, that's when your business will not succeed, because you're focusing on too much about changes when in reality you can't control it. There's always going to be changes. There always has been changes. It's just that you're noticing them now because your sales have decreased. So therefore, you are searching for other people to validate, and now you're seeing that other people are having the same effect. But I guarantee you, if you were to look for it last year or the year that you were making money, you would have found other people complaining, but you weren't complaining because you were making money. So this is not something that's new. Etsy changes, and changes around the internet always happen. You just have to be able to adapt, go roll with it, make the necessary changes, and also make sure that you commit to yourself as an Etsy seller that you're going to treat this as a real business. And if you need to change and you need to do different things and something's not working, that you are willing to let it go and do something else, or add a new product, or that product that you used to make a lot of money, you know what, it's not popular no more, so what can I do to replace that item? You have to be able to do all these things. I hope that this video was helpful in changing your mindset when it comes to why am I not making sales. This video is not to talk about anyone in a bad way. It's not to make anyone feel bad. This video is to just really, really change your mindset on how you look at things when it comes to Etsy and selling online. This applies for any type of e-commerce. Whether you sell on Etsy, it has happened to me on Amazon, and it has happened to me on eBay. So this happens and it's normal. You just have to be able to work around it. So I hope that this video was helpful for you. Please leave any comments below that you have about this video, or any suggestions that you have, or anything that you have learned to increase your sales. If you know anyone out there that is an Etsy seller that needs help or might need to listen to this video, make sure that you share it on your Facebook page with someone else. That way we could all help each other. I'm trying to create a sense of community where we all come together, we help each other out, and we really, really change our mindset. That way we could grow thriving Etsy business the right way and have the financial freedom that we all crave for. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.